What's your life goal, and have you achieved it?
Yeah, I married you.
Aw, gross.
You really need to go out there and make sure the whole world hates you. Oh, perfect.
My butthole is all over the internet.
A fine wine. She keeps me in the basement and pulls me out when she needs me.
If I drink Sambuca, he's getting it.
I bought a case.
Can tell a lot about a person by the way their tits, pussy, or dick looks.
You come near my cheeks and it's not going to be a good day for you, homie. This is going to be special.
Welcome to the Two Onions podcast with Dani Daniels and Vic. What's up, guys? I'm Dani Daniels, and this is my husband, Vic. We are still stuck inside, so we're doing another episode of the Two Onions podcast from home. I wore Vic's favorite dress today. I didn't wear my jammies. I wore your favorite dress.
I saw it. Thank you.
So last week, we did an episode and you interviewed me.
Correct.
So I think that it's rightful that I interview you. Are you just slow moving the mic closer?
Yeah, just in case.
So I'm going to interview you this episode.
Sounds good.
I feel like I didn't even ask the fans for questions because I feel like
those would have been special.
No, but I feel like I know what they want to know. Well, the sane ones. So everyone always asks me, I think that the number one question I get that's like safe for work about you is what you do for a living.
I'm a bullshit artist.
So what do you do for a living, husband of mine?
I coalesce the vapors of humanity into a viable... I'm a bullshit artist.
No, what do you do? Like, explain
I'm in public
relations.
I am in public relations and have been for a very long time.
Okay, so like for those of people like me, fun fact, when Vic and I got together, I didn't know what he did for a living.
My parents still don't know what I do for a living.
Because like I didn't understand because he gave me that answer and I was like, what in the literal fuck is public relations? So can you please explain to the class?
Well, it's when you relate to the public.
No, Vic.
I handle my clients' public persona for the media and social media.
Okay, so it's your job basically to make people look cool.
And get them press and get them invited places and all of that fun shit.
So
yeah, that's pretty much it.
What's the difference between PR and like management?
Manager manages your career. PR just manages your public appearances, your public persona.
So
I'm not in charge of getting people gigs and getting them jobs and managing their money or anything like that. My job is to just take them and give them the best public persona I can give them, or save their asses when they've done stupid shit, which I've done many of that, much of that in my life.
I was going to ask that later on, but
well, we'll get to it.
So what kind of people like hire you?
God, everything from corporations to politicians to celebrities to musicians. Anybody that any entity, it doesn't even have to be a person, any entity that has a public perception or a public persona.
Okay, so anyone like viewed by the public can.
Any
so you
any
don't
entity,
have, like,
corporations.
Do you have like a specialty? Like I work.
Yeah, I tend to deal in entertainment, fashion, and products surrounding them, and food, hospitality. That tends to be where I go. I did politics for a very long time, but I haven't done that in a
I was
few
going to
years.
ask that next, Vic.
Okay.
So how did you get your start?
In PR? Well, okay, so I started as a political consultant. Coming out of college, I worked in politics for years.
Can you like major in PR or like what was your major?
You know what? I learned a long time ago in college. Doesn't matter what your major is. It matters what you become. I actually was a political science and history major. So I guess technically I majored in the field that I was in. I know most people who are poli-sci majors wind up becoming lawyers later on. That's like a thing. But yeah, I actually majored in but they don't teach you how to run campaigns in college. I learned that from being involved with campaigns. So started off doing campaigns, running political campaigns, and then I kind of burned out of politics.
Why? I feel like politics would be the most fun.
Yeah. You know, it's like everybody always asks me, what's the difference between porn and politics? At least porn stars are honest about their dishonesty. Politicians are just fucking dishonest straight through. It was one too many times working for people who said one thing, but I knew they didn't believe it. And I just kind of got burnt out. Plus it was draining. I would leave May 1st and come back home middle of November. And, you know, missed a lot of major moments in my life, or major moments that should have been part of my life, because I was constantly gone and working. So it wound up burning out. And then I started realizing that, well, mouthwash doesn't talk. So I can be I can do kind of like what I was doing for politicians, but for mouthwash and not have to worry about them doing stupid shit. And then I wound up and then I wound up being a babysitter for entertainers. But at least entertainers, I don't know. There was there were times where I would work with people who did dumb shit like trash hotel rooms and whatnot. And it reminded me a little bit of politics, but then I realized, oh yeah, they're not in charge of taxing people, so it didn't bother me quite so much anymore.
So like when a politician would like travel around, you would travel around with them?
Yeah,
Is that why you were gone for the time?
Yeah, I was running campaigns in multiple states. I was all over the country at one point in time. I remember, I think I was in 5 states in 3 days once. It was just a blur. And I was handling political races for congressmen and senators and stuff everywhere, literally everywhere. I think the only 2 states I haven't been in are Hawaii and Alaska. And I worked on presidential campaigns. I worked on all of them.
Did you enjoy it?
I loved it. I loved it, but it burns you out. It's a young man's game. And when I turned 30, I went, oh, okay, I'm starting to get a little tired of this. Money was great. Job was good. The company, I had 2 business partners. We had a 92% success rate. If we took the campaign 92% of the time, you were going to win. We were kind of really good at dealing with crisis communication and stuff like that. But after a while, I just burned out.
It sounds exhausting. Like, as you talk about it, I'm like, Jesus.
It is. And it's just, it's everything that you can imagine an advertising campaign is, but jammed into a really, really, really short time period. Because, as you're doing advertising, even in the adult business, okay, your brand grows and grows and grows and grows. You don't have a finite date. Election date doesn't move. Mm-hmm. Whatever day election day is, you can't peak the next day. You have to peak that day. You have to have all of your eggs right in that basket. So there's no movement. So I remember the first time I started getting involved in fashion, and it was like these fluid deadlines. And I'm like, what the hell's this shit? So I started doing fashion shows because I knew that fashion shows, they had to be that day. But I'd be like, oh yeah, we're going to do this maybe the fall, maybe the fall. What the hell does that mean? I didn't grasp it at first. But then as I started getting into it, then I started realizing, there's some things that have deadlines and some things that don't.
Do you have a favorite?
You.
No, like, do you have a favorite thing you like to do with PR?
I actually enjoyed the crises.
That's not a good thing.
But I
love when shit hit the fan.
I did. I actually did kind of, and I hate to say it, but I did kind of like when shit hit the fan because there's I think every PR person never wants to be the king. I'm not that person. I was never the person who was like, run me for office. I was the person who was like, let me be the kingmaker. But there's something that when the shit hits the fan and you're saving someone's ass, there's something a little narcissistically powerful about that. That's kind of cool. Plus, I was actually really good at dealing with people and getting them to do what I believed at the time were the right things to get their asses out of the fire. And most of the time, I would advise my clients, don't bullshit.
Yeah.
And you and I had this conversation a very, very long time ago. And I had read it in James Carville and Paul Begella's book, and they were President Clinton's first campaign team. And they talk about how they like to train their candidates by having them watch the courtroom speech in Animal House.
Oh, jeez.
Because the courtroom speech in Animal House has
one of my favorite movies of all time.
It has a great moment in it where Otter stands up and he says, this isn't about whether we broke a few rules or took liberty with our female guests, because we did. This is about, and I used to show that to candidates all the time, right from that book, because it's right. That's what you do. You get up, you admit the mistake, and then you change the story. Yeah. And then you tell them something else.
Well, you don't change the story, but you change the subject.
You change the subject. And then, by the time it was over and done with, he was like, I will not have you attack the United States of America. And they all stormed off, right? Mm-hmm. So it's... But, so I used to love the crises. And it was always because I like the action. We had Joanna Angel on, and she was talking about how if there's you got a long time and a deadline.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you wait till the last minute and you do it. But the crises, man, that was right now.
I guess
hurry up.
Yeah. It's like having the essay due and you're like, you do it the night before. Yeah.
Yeah, I was the king of that in college.
Do you think this doesn't really have to do with where I was going with this, but you said you like being a kingmaker. Do you think that makes it easier to date someone like me? Because I'm constantly on camera, on social media, on,
maybe.
It's funny because, like, for those listening, Vic is the more, like, social of the two of us, but I'm definitely the one that's, like, on screen more.
It's funny that you say that because most PR people that I know are very extroverted. I think it's the nature of our business. Mm-hmm. We have to deal with people all the time.
Yeah, all the PR people are like all just like you.
Yeah, like they're all and maybe I never thought of it that way, but maybe my entire career training led to our marriage being as easy as it is for me.
It just clicked for me like right the second. I was like, wait a minute. I wonder if that's why.
Maybe.
Because you don't like it's hard for you even to like something like you don't like the spotlight, but you like creating it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I like being in the middle of it, but I like I like the spotlight going away from me while I'm standing there making sure the spotlight's where I want it to be. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of I've always been that way. There were times, especially in politics, where I thought about, I would love to run for office, maybe be president of the United States or whatever. And then that just went away really fast.
I don't know if you'd be a great president.
I don't know.
You have great, I don't like to talk about politics too much on this show because everyone always somebody gets butthurt, so I try to avoid it. But you do have you've mentioned things like when we've talked and whatever, like you have great ideas, but I feel like if you got a microphone in front of you and someone pissed you off, it would not end well. No. Like, I don't feel like you have a very good, I
don't have a filter.
Exactly.
I'm not sure. Yeah. Everybody's touting right now Andrew Cuomo for president. Man, I'm not sure Sicilians or Italians should be president because we're going to be hey, fuck you. I don't want to hear your shit.
Anyway.
It's just... Again,
no, I don't talk politics.
I mean, I just, but there were points and times, I think, in America where, hey, fuck you, you're going to do this. Might be what we need, but who knows?
I think that's why New York gets shit done. I mean, there are a lot of Italians here, and I love it. A lot of Italians, a lot of just, stern-ass people that are like, this is what's happening, this is what's going down. Fuck you.
It's funny. I grew up outside of here and spent most of my life coming in and out or living in the city. My family's from the city. This is a great training ground for a lot of things. First of all, it's a great training ground for diversity. Mm-hmm. It's like 35% of the city wasn't even born in America. Yeah. You go 6 blocks and see everything.
We talked about this the other day. Is we're stuck inside and obviously and surprisingly we're getting along really, really not surprisingly, but we're getting along really well. But we were talking about it because it was Passover. Yeah. And where I grew up, there were no Jews. Yeah. There were no Jewish people.
Yeah, we got a whole maybe community.
One. Yeah, right. I don't know. Yeah. And so it's funny because living here, it's so cool. I mean, so many of your friends that are now my friends are Jewish, and just that alone, I didn't know what Jewish food was, Jewish deli. I was I didn't know that. You have Little Germany, you have all these little sections.
You have a whole Caribbean section. Yeah.
And I grew up in a pretty open city. I'm not open city, but a diverse city, and it's nothing like New York. No. So.
No, it was funny. I remember leaving the New York area and going out and especially when I was people would be like, "Oh, do you have black friends?" And I'm like, I have friends. I don't understand. I don't understand. I have Bob, exactly. My friend Darius. Yeah. It's I got my friend Tom, my business partner Jacques. I mean, I guess they're black friends, but they're just friends. I never, I kind of grew up with. I mean, and a lot of times we would rib each other and pick on each other's ethnicity, but we could do that because we loved each other. Yeah. And no one gave a shit.
But it was a different situation. I can't imagine growing up here. I mean, I wish I did, because talk about being exposed to everything, everyone, every culture, every holiday, every situation, every mode of transportation. I mean, whatever. It's everything is
every
here.
Scam, every card office.
Yeah, you grow up fast here. I bet.
Yeah, you do grow up fast here. You learn a lot here. You learn a lot of diversity here. You learn a lot of speed here, to the point where when I've lived or when I've traveled to places that are down home and homesy and country.
I'm interviewing Vic. I was going to say. So growing up here, when you started traveling around for the politics stuff, what was that like? Like when you went to like Mississippi for the first time.
I went to,
and, like,
I got to tell you what, I went to Albany for the first time,
like,
okay?
Even just like random, small towns anywhere.
I went to college in the 80s. I left, Long Island and New York City, and I went to Albany. And I'm on my way to class, stopped off at a deli to get a regular coffee and a buttered hard roll, which in New York City, I don't know what that is. Yeah, which in New York City is
no one knows what that is.
Yeah, it's the on the go food. Even Long Island's the on the go food. That's it. There's literally, you walk into a place, you go regular coffee, you grab. There's a pile,
like a black coffee, regular coffee,
pile of buttered, literally hard rolls. Like Kaiser rolls with butter on them.
What's a Kaiser roll?
It's just a roll, just a hard roll. Okay,
like a bun.
No, a roll.
What's the difference? I know, but people listening don't know.
I don't know how to describe it.
Google it.
It's bread. It's not a bun. It's just bread, but like it's a
mini
roll.
Loaf?
Yeah, it's like a mini roll. It's got seeds on the outside, and it's buttered. And you grab to go regular coffee. A regular coffee in New York is 2 sugars, black, and a splash of cream. Period. That's a regular coffee. That's what everybody knows it to be.
Okay.
This other guy said regular coffee, buttered hard roll. He goes, "What's a regular coffee?" I went, "Oh shit." I said, then he takes out the roll and he's cutting it and he's slowly buttering it. I'm like, you'd have been murdered. There'd have been 35 plumbers with their pipe wrenches kicking the shit out of you because you didn't get them there. I mean, this is a 2-minute thing, tops. Yeah. Give me that, go, see you out the door. Then I went into a bar and I ordered 4 Budweisers. The guy said $5. I said 4 Budweisers, not 1. He said $5. I went, oh my God, where the hell am I? Like, the whole thing was a culture shock to me. I didn't know there was no such thing as wild cows. I mean, I found that out when I moved upstate, when I was living upstate New York. I was like, oh, what do you, they're like, oh, the cows have to be milked every day or they die. I'm like, well, what about the cows in the wild? They're like, they're no wild cows. I'm like, oh, shit, okay.
Fun fact.
Yeah. A beat up 57 Chevy, I can tell you what that looks like, but a cow, nope. So, yeah, it was a shock. And then, traveling around. I mean, we got married in Arkansas. Yeah. Even that was, that's always culture shock.
Yeah, I grew up on the West Coast. But my family has roots in Arkansas. And so we got married there. It's a whole other conversation. But to bring all of our friends from LA and New York and all over to a small town in Arkansas was interesting. Yeah. We should do an episode just on that. Not today, because today is all about Vic. Yeah. But we should just tell all the Arkansas stories because it's pretty good.
They were fun. And it was fun. There is something. I learned this traveling around. There's something essentially sweet and wonderful about an entire community coming together and judging pies and who's got the. There's just something truly Americana about that. State fair. I mean, we didn't have state fairs down here. Yeah. There's one in upstate New York, but down here there was no state fair.
But there are in like a different sense of the world. I mean, like there's in New York you have like street fairs.
Yeah, we had. Yeah,
you have
cultural events. Yeah,
and you get way more access to culture here.
Yeah, but they're like I said, it was just something, like these people they took pride. I mean, they took pride in their pie. They took pride in their chili or whatever the heck.
It's a slower way of living.
And it's not wrong. It's just different. It's just not what I was used to. But I became fond of it and enamored by it because it was something that was different, but it was also something that was just genuinely sweet in some ways that you just looked at it and went, you know what? Maybe they have something. Maybe slowing down isn't the worst thing in the world.
No, it's definitely not a bad way of living. It's just a different way. It works for some people. I couldn't
do it. I'd go batshit crazy.
Yeah.
I would go out of my. But that's because I was trained here. Yeah.
But that can also have an opposite effect. I mean, like I didn't grow up here, but I feel the most at home here.
Yeah.
So it depends on what you want. I mean, I don't think necessarily the way you're brought up means I'm going to want that, No,
not necessarily. And I think, but also same thing with here. I mean, you have a bunch of people here who just one day go, that's it, I'm done, I'm out of here, I need to go breathe the clean air.
One of the funny things when we were traveling is when we went to Scotland, there was a guy we were talking to, I think he was like a cab driver or something, and he was like, oh yeah, you live in New York? Oh yeah, they have buildings more than 4 stories there. I'm like, what? So the tallest building I've ever... Remember that? He was like, the tallest building I've ever seen is 4 stories. And I was like, holy shit.
We got that a lot of places. I mean, even in some major cities like Paris. Paris, you have the Eiffel Tower and you have that tower that my father hates.
Was it was a more extreme...
Yeah, but even there we've run into people that are like, oh my God. I mean, people who've been to Paris will say, oh my God, the speed of New York. And that's Paris, even Rome. Oh my God, the speed of New York. The only place that's close is London, and it's even not quite as fast as New York moves.
But let's get back to you.
Oh, back to you.
It was a really good effort, really good PR effort trying to change the subject to New York, but I see you and what you're doing. So you still do PR.
Yes.
I'm going to pretend that I don't know this.
Okay.
But what made you start writing?
You.
Me?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I wanted to write a book that was kind of a love story to you. That's what made me start writing.
So Vic has a book called Wait for the Corn. I know you don't have it. It's your episode, Vic, and you don't have your book. And yeah, it's, I wrote what is it called? The intro?
Forward.
The forward. Mm-hmm. And it's good. It's really good. I was actually surprised when he told me, he was like, I think I want to write a book about, like your industry and us being together. I was like, okay. And then I didn't think anything was going to come of it. And you wrote it.
Yeah, about
pretty quick.
5-6 months.
Mm-hmm. And you're like, here, read this. Tell me if it sucks.
And you read it on a plane.
I did. Yeah. But what, you have to go into depth. Like, what made you write? I mean, like, PR doesn't equal being a writer.
Well, it kind of does. I mean, you're always writing in PR. You're writing blog posts, you're writing social media posts, you're writing press releases, you're writing articles and stories. I mean, you write a lot when you do PR. And I always wanted to write, but I was an incredibly horrible English student because I found out when I was 30 that I'm dyslexic. Mm. So...
You found that out when you were 30?
30. Yeah, I was 30 when I found that out. And the only reason why I found that out is back here somewhere there's a book about George Patton where it talks about him finding out that he was dyslexic, and it listed all the problems that he had. And I went, I have every single one of those problems.
Oh my God. And
I went and got tested and found out that I'm actually what they call dysgraphic, which means I have problems with grammar and writing, but I don't have the reading problem. And Patton was the same way. And I kind of understood why. I just didn't grasp grammar. Just to this day, I still have a problem with it. That's why they have editors. Mm-hmm. But I loved writing, and I would always get these great, creative story, grammar sucks. It was kind of like, A for effort, kid, but D for the paper because you screwed up your adverbs and whatnot. So as moving forward, we now have Grammarly and editors, and I really don't give a fuck anymore what people think.
And I read things and tell you your grammar's wrong.
Yeah, and my mom, and I just said, you know what, I wanted to do it. And a lot of it was, I grew up without the internet and grew into it. And I've always known what it was because it's part of my business. But watching your social media, watching our friends' social media, and watching some of the comments, and then listening and just reading stories about internet bullying and stuff like that, I kind of realized there's a story here to be told. And the other side of that was I was just utterly fed up with, that must be her sugar daddy. Mm-hmm. And it just,
I had $1 for every time someone thought.
If I had $1 for every time somebody thought that, I could actually be a sugar daddy.
Or if anyone always says like you're my dad.
I'm your dad. I mean,
yes, we are 20. Yes. Vic and I are 23 years apart, and the only time I ever think about it is if someone's like, "Is that your dad?"
Yeah, and I'm
like, "What? Why would?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, we have an age gap."
I get it. You're intellectually incapable of coming up with something better than I know you are, but what am I?
No one can accept the fact that a young woman would want to be with somebody twice her age. It has to be either you have money or your dick's huge and you have money, or you know what I mean?
It's usually you have money. It's either you have money or for a very small percentage of the people I've drugged you and roped you in.
Those ones too.
But there's so it's mostly you have money, and
I can just be genuinely happy. God forbid.
God forbid. And the funny part about it is I mean I was hearing it from there and this won't last 6 months. This won't last a year. The marriage will never happen. I give the marriage only 1 year. Well, 4 years later, go fuck yourself. Yeah. So it's like, and I kind of got fed up with it, and there was a story to be told there because most of our friends aren't looking for sugar daddies. Mm-hmm. To a person almost.
When he says most of our friends, he's referring to our friends in the industry that are women.
Almost to a person, they say things like, I just want to be with somebody who's got ambition and drive and can keep up with me and accepts my lifestyle. There's never, there isn't a holy shit, I hope he's got it. Because they learn, and
I think like sometimes when you're younger, I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus, but there are girls like when you're younger, like, I just want to marry a fucking rich dude, fuck this, fuck. But it's like with age, you're like, okay.
I also think that,
of course it exists,
not
but
necessarily,
a lot of our friends don't have that.
True, and not necessarily in your case, but I do know, having talked to others, and again, no names mentioned, they have at some point dated a rich person and started realizing you're just a possession.
Oh, yeah.
And
money
does not buy happiness.
Has it happened where if one partner was rich and the other was not, they got, of course.
Yeah.
But it's different usually.
It's very different.
With porn. You want,
yeah.
But I don't know. It's a whole other, again, back to Vic.
So writing this, I wanted to write about internet culture, write about our relationship, really talk about what an amazing businesswoman you are. You own 5 businesses, and all of them are successful, and the fact that we are in love and a team. And also, I've been through a lot of relationships. You've been through a bunch. You've lived a lot in 30 years. I've lived an awful lot in 50 years. I think we do it right. We're 4 years in. For us, I think we do it. But I think we do it right in general. There's a lot of generalities of what we do that I think would work for many people. And I was like, you know what? Having been through the ringer a bunch of times, I wanted to write it down. Now, take the advice, don't take the advice.
Yeah, but you've had a lot of people reach out to you and tell you that they liked the advice that you've given,
Yeah, there's one specific gentleman, and you will be, I'm sure you'll be watching this, who has told me he gave the book to his parents, and his parents now have date nights, and they celebrate their anniversaries, and they do everything that I wrote in the book, and I'm like, I was amazed. I was actually a little teary-eyed over it, because it's an amazing thing to hear someone's parents have developed a greater love for each other because of something I wrote, half of it being sarcastic and the other half being just a love story to you. So it was really wonderful to hear that, and it's been unbelievably humbling. I mean, I have 75 positive reviews on there, and I know like 14 of them. It's like 60 people I've never met in my entire life wrote nice things, and it's like it's a humbling thing. I mean, I got one shitty review. You gotta get one. There's always somebody out there.
If I had a dime for every shitty porn review I've ever got.
That's the part that I don't understand is porn reviews. I mean, I get it. It's like a book. Maybe it's written badly or it's not your cup of tea. But porn, you go in there to watch sex. They had sex. What the fuck's wrong?
But that's whatever. We talked about that on the show before. But what made you want to go into fiction? Wait, for those of you listening, the book is Wait for the Corn. You can get it on Amazon. Go buy it.
Shameless
plug. But what made you want to start writing fiction? Because that's a whole nother monster.
Yeah.
That's you can't blame that on me.
Yeah, I can. Once I got I can blame everything on you. Once I got the writing bug, I started wanting to write more, and there were just stories that I loved reading. I liked reading a lot. And I just want to
if you haven't noticed from the background, we are big readers. Yes. And it wraps around to the other side. So
and this doesn't include about the 4,000 books I threw out before I moved to New York that are now on my Kindle.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just enjoyed fiction stories. I enjoyed writing that book. I'm now writing a fiction book. I'm also writing another, kind of almost a sequel to that book. I wrote a screenplay for you. I just got the bug. And it's an enjoyable process. And that Stephen King says you write for your ideal reader, and you hope that your ideal reader loves it. So I write for you. I mean, that's really what I do. I write for you, and I hope that at some point you read it and you laugh and you cry and you chuckle at the parts that I want you to laugh and cry and chuckle at. And then with any great luck, other people will like it too.
Oh, that's a sweet thing.
I write for you. So yeah, I wrote that screenplay because it was a running joke that
don't give it away.
That a friend of ours and you
don't
were
give
doing
it away.
This TV show, so I wrote a screenplay about it. And I think it came out pretty well. So we'll see.
Yeah. I think it's great. I'm excited because I want to read your next one.
Yeah.
When you let me read it.
I'm halfway through.
So aside from writing and PR and all that stuff, let's get into kind of more personal things.
Oh boy.
Like, my question I've always wondered with you is, me getting into the business and kind of like selling my soul for porn. I expect judgment and I expect negative comments. And we've talked about that when you interviewed me. I expect all that stuff. What is it like falling for someone and getting into that, when you don't work a job where you would be exposed to that normally. And you've kind of, from some performers, like, don't expose their partners. Some do. I do. I've never hit anything. So what is it like kind of falling into that?
I knew what I was getting into when I signed up. So it wasn't that surprising. In many ways, it's tamer than I thought it was going to be.
Even with like all the hate comments, all the hate.
But but honestly,
Vic's gotten like death threats.
But that's all over stupid scam shit.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's you're still exposed to the
moronic
industry.
Comments from young men in countries that won't be named, India and Arab, that say dumb shit. But I also have had amazing people from India and Iraq and Iran and Egypt reach out, buy my book, and tell me they loved it. So, to be honest, I'd say 80% of the time I'm getting nice comments from people. Oh, I love your relationship. I love what you guys do, blah, blah, blah. Every once in a while you get a stupid question. But for the most part, you maximize the good, minimize the bad. I mean, it's the 80-20 rule, and it's 80-20. It's like 80 good, 20 bad. Who gives a shit about the 20?
That is true. It's just, I feel like usually like negativity sticks to people harder than positivity.
Yeah.
But
what? At a younger age, it did. I'll be honest. At a younger age, it probably would have bothered me a lot more. At my age, I don't give a fuck.
You're an old man now.
I don't care,
You got old man, no fucks to give.
Yeah, if I had 3 fucks in my pocket, you were hanging off a cliff and you needed one, you ain't getting it because I got no fucks to give. It's just not happening. So that's a Chris Rock joke, just in case. Sorry, Chris, I stole it from you.
So, like, it's funny because we do get a lot of hate mail. Like you said, 20%, that is pretty much accurate. It isn't a lot, but it's more noticeable. But at the same time, like, I get a lot of people that know who you are, that always ask about you, that are, like, even if I like cam with people, they know I'm married, they know I'm in a relationship. They usually at the end of it, like, thanks for the show, say hi to your husband. And it's like this cool relationship I have with my fans now. And it is very freeing to be able to be me on social media and not have to like hide you as a partner or pretend.
Yeah, I don't know what works in other people's lives. I do know I have been in relationships where I had to be hidden for a while due to some moronic reason or another. That's just a horrible way to go through it because now you're feeling like a second-class citizen or inferior, unless it's your choice. Mm-hmm. If the guy says, look, I don't, just keep me out of it, that's one thing. But if the woman goes, well, you know what, I know you're with me, but I'm not going to tell anybody about you because...
But there's a difference between I'm not going to tell my friends and family about you or I'm going to keep it a secret from my fans.
Which I guess I kind of understand that there's a marketing aspect to that too. Mm-hmm. But it's a tough relationship to be in if you're feeling like you're denied. Mm-hmm. If you feel denied. If you want to be denied, that's a different story. But if you feel denied and you feel like I've got to pretend that this doesn't happen, and I also have to accept the lifestyle, mm-hmm. that's a lot to make a human being swallow. That isn't in the industry. Mm-hmm. If you're in the industry, you know the deal. If you're a guy in the industry and you're a girl in the industry, or a girl and a girl, or a guy and a guy, you're hooking up, you know what the other person does, they know what you do, it's not that big a deal. Mm-hmm. But if you're a civilian coming in, girl or guy, no matter who you're partnering up with, if you're being denied and you have to deal with all of the pratfalls that come with the industry, and there are some, man, that's a lot. That's a lot to swallow.
Do you recommend dating a porn star?
I recommend dating anybody you love. I mean, I don't.
But what if you don't know?
I mean,
if your friend came to you and said, I really like this porn star, should I date her? What would
I would probably tell him, take the words porn star out of that sentence. Do you really like the person for who they are? Because it's the same thing as having a black friend. I have friends. I have my wife. I don't have a porn star wife. I have a wife.
No, but I don't mean it in the sense of that. I mean it in the sense of, like, do you recommend it, knowing everything that comes with it?
Yeah, it depends on the person. I mean, I think everybody has to judge what's best for them and what, is the value of that relationship more important than hearing, oh, is that your dad? Mm-hmm. Okay? I can, a million people can tell me, oh, is that your dad? Guess what? You're home in your mother's basement and I'm with her. I win. So, it's, you're commenting on my life. I mean, Small Hands said this on the TV show. You're commenting on my life.
Yeah.
I win.
Yeah.
I'm not commenting on your life because I don't give a fuck. But you care enough to make a stupid comment. God bless you. But you also have to have that mentality going into it. If you're a jealous person, if you have innate jealousy issues, if you have insecurities anywhere, man, they're going to be...
It's funny, like...
somebody's going to find it and they're going to...
It's funny because I've pretty much blocked most of the haters from Instagram. If I get hate mail or if I get hate comments, I block you. I don't give you the time of day. Like, you don't get a second chance. Yeah, I don't have time for that shit. So when I started my TikTok, I had to, like, start over blocking people. And, like, the amount of hate, like, every day I do a silly video. I just hit 1 million, actually, on TikTok.
Yes.
Woo!
Congratulations.
But every day I do a silly video embarrassing my husband or like shocking him or whatever.
More than once a day.
And I have to start all over. So I get all these people, all these guys mostly saying like, "Oh, is that her dad? SMH." And you're like, "Fuck, man." Shaking my head.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay.
I am in PR.
So I have to block them, but I always go and look because on TikTok it's all video.
Yeah.
So I always go and look, and I would say 90% of the guys look like they're under 30.
Yeah, of course they are.
And it's like almost every time.
Here's a little piece of valuable advice for you guys. Stop commenting on other people's relationships. Stop worrying about any of that shit.
Just
and
anything
live your
hateful.
fucking life. Live your life.
It always shocks me because it's like you're commenting something hateful on someone that you don't have to follow.
Yeah.
And if you want to give the excuse like, "Oh, I saw you on my For You page," then just block me. You'll never see me again.
But it's not
until you're stroking it at Pornhub at 3 a.m.
It's an internalized jealousy for somebody who's watching your videos and think one day they're going to be the pizza guy. I mean, that's really where this comes from, or the pool boy, or whatever.
Or just ego in general.
And they don't understand how you, for God only knows what reason, chose me and not them. It's because you made that stupid fucking statement. That's it. Those dumb moronic comments are the reason why you're sitting there looking at somebody else's video instead of out living your life with some gorgeous woman that you belong with and you enjoy. That's it. That's the reason, dude. It's got nothing to do with my age. It's got nothing to do with us. It's got to do with you. Look in the mirror. You're your own problem.
Oh my gosh. So back to Vic, because we keep trying to change the subject. I have a couple more questions that I actually wrote down because I didn't want to forget them.
Oh boy.
This one's just like, because I'm sure everyone asked this. What's it like being married to me? For the people at home, and don't just be like, "Oh, it's great." But no, it's really, okay.
So funny question is, one of the things when I interviewed you, people said was, "Oh, well, I really want to know about the dynamic between you two." I'm not sure how to answer that. We're married. We love each other. We travel together. We have sex when we want to have sex. There are some times we actually don't want to have sex. We enjoy each other's company. We're each other's best friend. I don't know what the dynamic is supposed to be that you're expecting, because in my mind, that's the dynamic that should be in every marriage. Mm-hmm. So I don't understand what they're looking for. Like, it's a bizarre question. What's it like being married to you? I love you. I want to jump your bones. 99 chances out of 100. I love cooking for you. I love writing books for you. I like being around you. I like traveling with you. I enjoy your company. I even enjoy when you make me do stupid fucking TikToks.
I think that people like actually think that I'm different. Like when I'm not.
Well, you are different than when you're Dani.
Yeah, but like when I'm on camera and when I'm like fucking around on TikTok, it's the same human being.
That's you. I can say this.
I think they're looking for like a secret. Like, I don't know. Like I'm secretly blank.
I mean, there's always that line out there that every guy is taught, no matter how hot she is, no matter how gorgeous she is. Someone's sick of shit.
I can guarantee you there's people out there sick of my shit.
Yeah, and I mean, you know what? And I guarantee you people are sick of my shit. I am sure you've been sick of my shit. I get it. But there's a difference between I'm having a bad day and I'm miserable and I'm arguing with my wife and we come together and perpetually sick of the person's shit. Mm-hmm. If you're perpetually sick of your spouse's shit, get the fuck out. Yeah. Get out.
That actually like brings me to my next question. So, Vic has been in relationships before. He's been married before.
Obviously.
You know, I actually I love your ex-wife. She's one of my favorite people, but that's another conversation. I'm not going to throw any like exes under the bus. I don't want to name names, but you've done it. You've done family life. You have kids. Like, they're adults now. Like, you've had a family. I wouldn't say like a stage, because like your kids are still very much in your life.
Oh, very much so. Yeah.
But you had that, like, you've been a father. You still are, but you raised children. And like now you're in a completely different relationship, a completely different marriage where it is not family life.
But it is family life.
No, but like it's not this,
Yeah, we don't have 2.3 kids in a
and I'm not saying one is right and one is wrong, because I don't mean it like that. But I just mean like you've lived many a different types of relationships. So in your opinion, like, what are the signs of a healthy relationship or marriage?
I think, and I believe I put it in the book, the difference between good and bad is how well you deal with bad. That's the difference. Anybody can do good. Mm-hmm. Good is easy. Fucking until you drop dead is easy. Bringing home flowers, that shit's easy. Problems are going to occur. Money problems are going to occur. Sexual problems are going to occur. Some unrealistic expectations. Things are going to occur.
Or just fighting in general.
Yeah. Pissed off. You're stuck inside for 30 days and you're underneath each other's skin. Whatever the reason is. It's how well you deal with that bad that defines whether or not your marriage is going to succeed. Do you escalate? Do you poke at each other? Do you take it up a notch? Do you figure out? Or does one person, or preferably both, figure out how to go, stop, let's fix this, let's reset the problem, let's take it down a notch, we love each other, this is dumb, let's not turn this into something moronic. Mm-hmm. That's the difference. In my opinion, that's the difference. That's the difference that I have seen with you and everybody else. With everybody else, it was always a fight to see who could win the fight. And with you, it's a fight to see who can say I'm sorry faster.
Well, it's also like finding someone you're compatible with, right? Because some people like to fight and go to bed mad and wake up the next day. Some people, don't like to talk about anything. So it's also just like, I used to always say, like, you find out about a person 6 months after you've been together. Because they cut the shit after 6 months. No one can keep it together when you travel together for the first time and when you fight together for the first time. Right. Because you have to be compatible in all those realms. Because to say, oh, we'll never fight ever is a complete lie.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
If you say like, well, I don't like to travel. Well, then you better bet your partner doesn't either. Yeah. Because...
Well, that's to say if one wants kids and one doesn't want kids, that's busted up more marriages than I can count. Yeah. And I mean, I wouldn't trade my 2 kids in for the world. I love them dearly, but I'm glad I did that when I was younger. Mm-hmm. And now I'm enjoying this phase. I know a lot of friends of mine who enjoyed having a wild, younger life and are now enjoying children now. I don't honestly, at 53, believe I would have the energy for a 7-year-old. I really don't. I don't
have the energy for a 7-year-old, and I'm 30.
I am currently having problems with my 26-year-old daughter, let alone 7-year-olds. But there's, and I wouldn't trade in. And I remember Bill Clinton was never my favorite president on the planet, but I never hated any president. But he had a great line. Chelsea Clinton was not the most attractive girl when she was going through puberty. She just wasn't. She was awkward. And there were some people who were taking shots at her.
Aww.
Yeah, and she didn't, her dad signed up to be president of the United States. She didn't sign up to listen to people say you're an ugly redhead. She just didn't.
Well, that's what kind of I mean, like when I was talking about earlier about, okay.
But Bill Clinton, I remember he snapped at a reporter once who said it, and it was one of the few times that I saw a president snap that I was like, oh, that's a good thing. He literally said, listen, he goes, I'm only president for 4, maybe 8 years, but I'm a father for the rest of my life. Do not talk about my daughter like that. And that was the end of it. We shut it down, and I went, you know what? Yes. Cheer. Aww. That's the way, that's what you need. At some point in time, you got to realize there are longer-term things that are more important, your healthy relationship, your children, your marriage, than there is the shorter-term gains of I'm president or I'm going to the bowl game with my friends, whatever it might be,
So that's your advice?
It's my advice. Stick to it.
What are some signs you would see if like a relationship or a marriage was going downhill?
When they don't want to be around each other, when they're looking forward to going to work.
Some people like space, so you can't say that.
I personally disagree with that, and I did a rant on it. I get that there are times when there is space. I don't look for it. Mm-hmm. I don't look for it. If you're looking for it, if you're
looking to get away, you
want to go to
I'm going to go take a boys' weekend, get the fuck away from my wife.
I'm going to go take a boys' weekend because we've done this our entire life, but I really don't want to leave my wife, but I'm hanging out with the guys, and I get it. You know, we have a friend who does that every year. He does it, and he doesn't like leaving his wife, and he texts her all the time, but he does it because it's a guy's thing, and they've been his friends forever, and I get that. But if you want to go to work and you don't want to come home from work, it's a pretty big sign that there's a problem. If your friends don't have a positive opinion of your spouse, it's because that's the way you're portraying them. That's what I was going to say.
I'm like, that's your problem.
You're portraying them that way. And if you're portraying them that way, then you don't have a positive
view of your spouse. I don't think that you should... I don't think you should bitch to your friends about your partner. No. Because I don't think that ever ends well.
Nope.
Because I could bitch about you tomorrow, and then I could get over it. But they're always going to remember what I bitched about.
Because you're never going to come back and say it was fixed. Mm-hmm. All you're going to say is the fucker didn't take the garbage out again. Mm-hmm. Okay? And at some point in time, your husband or your wife is going to either look like the nag pain in the ass who's always on your rear end, or the insensitive husband who never gives a shit about your feelings or what's going on. You know, those are going to be the two stereotypical bullshit things that are being done. If you're in a same-sex marriage, you still have the same situations. I mean, I've seen friends of ours who are, you know, gay, who will bitch about their partners, and it's the same bitching.
Yeah.
It's just a different mix-up of how the family is.
But that's the thing. It's like, if one of my girlfriends just constantly bitched about their partner to me, and that was the only information I got, of course I'm going to hate the person.
And then they wonder why you don't want to hang out with your spouse. It's like, well, you spent, you know, God only knows how many months saying he's a piece of shit. Now wonder why. Oh, shocker.
So, anyway. We kind of talked about this, but I wrote down pros and cons of being married to a public figure. We kind of talked about that.
Yeah, I'm in a very unique situation because you're a public figure, and you're an incredibly popular public figure. Like, we've gone nowhere, literally nowhere on this earth where you have not been asked for a photo, including a fucking hilltop in Montepulciano with like 9 people. But it's a little different because I'm not inundated like if I was with, I don't know, Kate Capshaw, or you were with Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, they're public figures that everybody assumes you can go up and talk to. Mm-hmm. You're a public figure that people are going to be a little leery about going up to a little bit. Many times they'll come up to you if I'm not around.
Yeah, you're my giveaway, and it's really annoying, to be honest.
And many times...
everyone looks for you. They're like, for a bald guy with a goatee, and they're like, oh, yep, that's it.
Yeah, that's the winner. But it's an interesting... But it's, I don't know, you know, the pros, I don't look at it as pros, and the cons are putting up with the fucking scamming bullshit. But other than that,
hey, a pro is that I suck some sweet dick.
Yeah, but that's, you know, whatever.
So spoiled. So what's next for Vic?
What do you mean?
Like, what's next? Like, what do you envision your future looking like?
I don't know. I don't.
What are your wants? What are your goals?
I don't know that I have any long-term goals because I'm old and I don't have long-term.
Oh my God.
You know, I just want to continue traveling. I want to continue writing. I enjoy my business. I enjoy our friends and family. And, you know, it's funny you said something about family life, but we do have a family life. We have really great friends. I have a nice...
No, I didn't mean it like we don't have a family life, but we don't have like 2 screaming toddlers.
No, we don't have 2 screaming... And, you know,
we just have 2 screaming Frenchies.
Yeah, we have 2 screaming Frenchies. But we also have this... I mean, we have a joy. I mean, we're spending 30 days inside together. It's like not that big a deal. But we don't have to chase a 5 and a 7-year-old around and get them educated. I mean, I feel for people who have to do that. I also, having come from the family of a teacher, want to know how much you value a teacher right now.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, you're dealing with 2, 3, maybe 4 kids in your house. They're dealing with freaking 30 of them.
We have a lot of friends.
7 hours.
We have a lot of friends with kids right now, and they're all struggling, and I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, this is a tough time. And you know, kids want to go out and play. They want to do things, and you got to, I mean, they still got to finish a semester somehow and get that in, or they're going to be perpetually a year behind. It's a nightmare.
Yeah. Or you even have people that, you know, like I have a friend that takes care of someone with special needs.
Yeah.
You know, and how do you explain that? We can't go outside today.
Well, yeah, and you can't, I mean, especially when you're dealing with children with special needs, you can't just go, oh my God, there's a global pandemic, because they'll think the world's coming to an end, you know?
But luckily, we only have Frenchies, and we don't have kids. So shout out to everyone parenting children right now, because...
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And yeah, we've gotten along,
Yeah. It's like,
That's pretty much.
We have our routines. We do our things.
Do you have any recommendations for people that are staying inside?
Have a lot of sex.
How to stay sane?
I don't,
What if they're by themselves? What if they don't have a partner?
That's what porn is made for.
Yay!
Go porn.
Swipe up.
I mean, it's funny. It's like there are ways that everybody's figuring out how to communicate. Zoom and Skype calls and texting. And I mean, we get calls and text messages from friends. Cherie DeVille, we had him, and our friends Chuck and Ashley. We've had, online dates where we double dated. They were eating dinner in one side of the planet and we're on the other. I'm looking forward to being able to travel again. I miss London.
Of course you do. You always miss London.
And I miss New York, the New York that I grew up with. It is so bizarre out there right now. It's just very strange. But I'm sure, this too shall pass. I mean, I lived through.
I hope everyone's staying safe and washing their hands. And
I mean, I've seen New York go through some shit. I was here for the blackouts in the 70s. I saw race riots.
You know what? I will say, at 7:00 every day in New York, people go outside and they cheer for all the healthcare workers and everyone working right now, keeping us safe. We bitch about staying inside, but there's so many people right now that are working. I mean, well, you said it. You're like, I'm going to the grocery store getting supplies, and there's someone working the cash register. Mm-hmm. They didn't sign up for this.
Hoping to God, making minimum wage and praying to God that one of you schmucks weren't stupid enough to come out with the disease. But, you're also dealing with a disease where no one knows if they have it sometimes. Mm-hmm. They have literally no signs. So the person behind that cash register making $12, $15, $10 an hour, whatever the hell state minimum wage you are, is sitting there just watching a parade of potential infectees going past them. And they go to work. Mm-hmm. They go to work every day. Who's more valuable now, the guy that hits the curveball or the girl packaging your groceries?
I've said that forever. I've always said athletes are way overpaid. Yeah. And teachers and healthcare workers and people working the cash register right now, way underpaid.
Yeah, we're surviving.
That's a whole nother conversation.
I'm sorry to my daughter. I'm sorry to my daughter, but we're surviving without baseball. But we would not survive without grocery store workers or truck drivers or teachers or not even the doctors and nurses. The custodian who's got to clean up after this shit and
sanitation workers.
These guys who are just and they're not high paid.
The police.
They're not high paid. I mean, doctors are high paid. Some policemen are high paid. You're talking about, sanitation guys and grocery. These guys are not high paid. And we are literally surviving on their backs right now. Yeah. Scary.
So thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for all of that. And hopefully this will end soon.
Yeah. And that was the Vic episode.
That's it? You got nothing else? No more
I have other stuff, but we're almost running out of time.
We got a little bit. You got 10 minutes. Yeah, you got more questions. Fire away. This is your one and only time.
Oh no, it's not. We have next week. What got you into cooking?
What got me into cooking? My grandmother.
Which one?
Both my grandmothers. Watching them cook and what they made, I just wanted to learn it. And then I started realizing as I got older, I had to learn it.
Why?
Well, because, at some point in time, I was going to be without grandparents. I'm lucky to still have one grandparent that's 53, but at some point in time, I was going to be without grandparents, and I didn't want to lose them.
Vic's family's really weird. They don't write recipes down.
No, I had to cook with them.
My family is Southern. They write everything down. I have recipes that go back hundreds of years.
Yeah, literally.
But you do not. They just pass. You guys pass. No one thought to pick up a pen and write down how much.
Because my handful and my grandmother's handful are two different sizes.
We argue about this all the time because I'm like, you could say a small woman's fistful because the portions are still the same depending on who's cooking.
I mean, I guess
as long as you use the same hand.
I just and I cook. It's like, oh, okay, that needs a little more of this. So I just loved it. And then as I started, especially when I was doing politics, it was a nice release just to focus on cooking for an hour.
So it's meditative?
Yeah, it was meditative. Just sat down, chopped vegetables, whatever it was, cooked, focused on making sure the dinner came out the right way, just cleared my head from everything else.
Yeah, I've been very spoiled this month because Vic does all the cooking. Yeah. And I do all the baking.
Yeah,
but you're doing keto, right? He's doing a diet, so I can't bake anything.
Yes. Because I'm trying to keep the girlish figure.
So I just keep baking for the door, guys.
Tonight's dinner is going to be a little Asian beef and broccoli.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, but that's not Italian.
No,
so you don't have a recipe for that?
No.
Who taught you that?
Do you not forget that I have a cousin who's half Chinese and half Sicilian?
I just forget again. And you don't. Why doesn't she write anything down?
No. That was the old joke. Is like she was Chinese Sicilian and her husband is Irish. So my cousins would say it was like chicken chow marinara on a hard roll. You never knew what the hell you were gonna get for dinner. It was like just mix of all kinds of shit.
Amazing.
Yeah, she makes a great fried rice.
Do you have a favorite thing you like to cook?
I love cooking the manicotti when I have the time to do it.
Is that the little
manicotti? By white people standards.
Yeah.
Manicotti, yeah. I love doing the manicotti. I like doing soups. I really enjoy doing
That
soups.
was actually really one of the first times Vic went to Arkansas to meet some of my extended family. He's like, I'm going to cook for you. And my Southern family was like, that's great. You know, what are you going to make? And he said, manicotti. And they were like, what? And he's like, manicotti. They're like, what? And he goes, manicotti. And they go, oh, we love manicotti.
This was Thanksgiving dinner, by the way. I cooked Thanksgiving dinner.
That's the one with the little, you make a pancake, right?
Yeah,
like
it's a
like
crepe.
An Italian crepe pancake.
It's a crepe
thing.
stuff with cheese, but it's like
really
you got to cook you got to make a real red.
Maybe
sauce,
we should start doing like YouTube videos of you cooking.
Well, you keep wanting to do TikToks of me cooking,
and I'll like tell people one fistful.
You say one fistful, and they're gonna think something completely different. That's going in a very bad direction quickly.
But yeah, you make amazing stuff. I'm very spoiled. So how I'm not 500 pounds is surprising.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
But
yeah, I love it.
I'm married up. What's the expression?
I'm married now. You didn't marry up.
I'm married up.
I actually always enjoyed cooking like dinner parties. I don't know why. I just always enjoyed.
God. The one thing about Vic though is like he's an amazing cook, but he is such a fucking slob.
See, that's just it. If I was an actual sugar daddy, I would have that woman in the kitchen cleaning up behind me.
Is that a hint?
No.
He loves to cook for dinner parties. I fucking hate it because he is such a dirty chef. Like, he makes the biggest mess. I am a very clean chef and a very clean baker.
You gotta cook with zest.
I clean as I go, and Vic does not. And then you finish eating, and it's always really heavy because it's Italian or Sicilian. And then you go and you're like, the last thing I want to do is clean the goddamn kitchen right now. Oh, so no, there'll be no dinner parties.
No, there'll be dinner parties. All our friends out there, don't worry. When this is over, we're having multiple dinner parties.
It's nightmare fuel.
Yeah. Crack open a bottle of champagne and celebrate this thing ending.
Cleaning. I'm OCD and I'm a germaphobe, so like my version of clean is like you could eat off the floor in my house.
Yeah. You and my grandmother would get along.
Vic's version of clean is about half that. Questionable, but he tries.
I try. I do try.
You do. You're a great husband. I'm very glad I married you.
Thank you.
All right, should we do shameless plugs?
My book. You can see it. Wait for the corn. On Amazon. I think it was like 76 5-star reviews or something like that.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's a pretty quick read. If you do read it, please reach out. Tell me what you thought. I'm always trying to improve, and I do take constructive criticism well. And if you like this podcast, please leave a review. Mm-hmm. Please write something. Even if you hate it, please write something.
You can write something.
Just write something. Yeah, just literally write something.
The word something, and
we're gonna have 40-something reviews now. But yeah, just we're trying to get some guests in. We're gonna see how long this lasts. If we can do some Zoom or Skype guests, and go from there. If not, there might be a couple more episodes. We might be doing the Scotch episode next. We'll be drinking Scotch for you.
And also feel free to comment if you have an idea that you want to see for an episode, like a Scotch episode or, whatever, because I like to know what you guys want to hear about. So.
We've had requests for 3 episodes we haven't done. One, they wanted us to do a porn episode, an absolute porn episode, a Scotch episode, and a Disney episode. Oh, we always get requests for Disney episodes.
We should do that. Disney!
Yeah, we've been to, I guess there are, 5 Disneys in the world now. We've been to 3 of them.
Yeah.
We haven't been to Shanghai or Japan. Yeah. Now they're saying there's going to be one outside of London.
Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah. I can't wait. But yeah, so let us know what you want to listen to or want to hear from us. If you have guests you want to see on, let us know. And thank you for listening. Thanks for listening to us, even if we're in our library at home. And thanks for letting me interview you, babe.
Oh, you're welcome.
If you guys want, you can follow me on TikTok, Dani Daniels TikTok. I hit a million! I hit a million! I love you guys. It's so cool. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Especially because like you have to be super PG on TikTok, so it's me just making embarrassing videos of myself, and I can't believe a million of you want to watch that. So that's really cool because my bobs are put away. And yeah, what else? Go to Dani's things. You can sign up for my OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Dailybush.com. I got an OnlyFans.
I don't. I have no OnlyFans.
I'm gonna make you one. I'm gonna make Vic an OnlyFans.
I have.
Would you subscribe?
I have an author's page on Amazon. You can follow me there.
There you go.
Maybe
do you have a goal for your next book?
What do you mean, when it's done or when it's?
Yeah.
I'd like to finish writing it before this staying inside ends. And then it'll be the polishing and the editing, which is going to take, this one's going to take a little bit of time because it's
so
pretty thick.
Maybe a birthday gift.
Might be a birthday gift for you, depending upon the editorial process.
Oh boy, which could be a lot.
Yeah, it could be a bit rough. So this one's going to take some polishing. Possibly, yeah, possibly.
I have my fingers crossed.
Might be birthday. Christmas is the latest.
And on that note, I love you guys. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye.